Boom, and we're back. Sorry about the issue we had with the internet earlier. This is a new link for episode 5 of Before the Mob Speaks. I'm your host, as always, Andrew Lawrence. Today, my guest will be Daniel Levy from Best MMA Picks. You'll also see him on the Flying MMA podcast and a few other places where he's writing across the internet. We are responding to UFC 198, Conor McGregor against Chad Mendes, a fantastic night of fights, culminating in the main event with Conor McGregor getting his second round KO victory over Chad Mendes. A fantastic fight and a fantastic night of fights. Running down the card, in the co-main event, we had Robbie Lawler with a statement victory, probably the highlight victory of his career over Rory MacDonald in just a bloodbath, a violent fight, and a destructive fight. I've never seen Rory MacDonald take that much damage. I'm not sure if I've ever seen Robbie Lawler take that much damage. That is a fight that will leave both of those men scarred for years to come. But that highlight reel from that Robbie put on will live forever as well. In earlier fights on the pay-per-view, we had Jeremy Stephens with a fantastic late knockout victory of Dennis Bermudez. We had Brandon Thatch getting absolutely starched on the ground by our man Gunny Nelson to kind of begin the night of Irish victory after some setbacks early. Thomas Almeida proved why he's a legit prospect and a 20-0 undefeated fighter. Against Brad Pickett, who looked outclassed after some first-round success. Just really showed why he's the older, less successful fighter. And then what really kicked off and started a night of great fights after a lot of mediocre fights was a Fight of the Year candidate until some of the later performances with Tim Means fighting against Matt Brown. Like I said, our guest today will be Best Fight Picks, who is probably having a very successful night after Conor McGregor's shining moment in the main event, and we'll have him on soon. Hopefully we'll limit his gloating to as much as we possibly can. So a fantastic night of fights all around for the UFC, and a completely new look and direction for where the UFC is going to go. We clearly saw the changes from as soon as we turned from the FS1 portion to the pay-per-view portion in the new graphics packages. And one thing I do want to say, the UFC at this point with STEM and Face the Pain is now just trolling me. I have had a concerted effort to petition the UFC to end this song. And as soon as the new graphics packages, I knew it. I knew they'd finally listened. I heard inside of my heart deep angels rejoicing in the fact that I would never have to hear STEM ever again in my life. Unfortunately, that was not to be the case. STEM is here to stay. It's remix STEM, but it's still STEM. God damn you, UFC. You get me. Even in a brilliant, absolutely pitch perfect, couldn't be, nothing could go better for the UFC tonight. We had to have a little bit of new metal. We're bringing in Best Fight Picks for his analysis now. We'll see how long it takes him to get in here. Overall, for me personally, an even night of fights. I was heavy on underdogs throughout the entire week leading up. I thought that a lot of underdogs had a chance to make it happen. And a lot of them proved to do just that. Robbie Lawler being the champion and the underdog after having a victory over Rory MacDonald was a thing that baffled a lot of people, especially on Twitter. But I saw just a consistent amount of support for Rory MacDonald throughout the week, and it all proved to be for naught. There was one great moment in the third with the head kick, but other than that, Robbie Lawler just cruised and was really destructive throughout. All right, but first, let's bring our first guest of the night on, our only guest of the night on, and let's bring on Daniel Levy from Best Fight Picks on Twitter. How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm having problems with your audio, man. Are you sure you got your mics going? Let me see if I can hear you here.
Hey, man. What's up?
No, now you're in there. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Good. Everything must go good for you. How was your night betting?
It was a great night, you know. Obviously, let's put the betting aside for a second. This was literally the best UFC card of all time. I mean,
oh, okay. The hyperbole has begun.
Like, let me just say this. I'm qualified to say that because I buy every single pay-per-view, and this was an A++. I mean, every single fight on the pay-per-view was just incredible. I mean, I was like, this is going to be fight of the night. Then Rory versus Robbie happened. I thought that was going to be fight of the night. And then Conor McGregor versus Chad Mendes. I mean, so many candidates for fight of the night. Bermudez versus Stevens. And then Matt Brown versus Tim Means. It was an absolutely incredible night of fights.
I do these stupid grades every single fight, and I grade every card. I give them an A to F rating. I didn't give a grade below an A for the top 5 cards, all the pay-per-view portion, and 3 of them are A pluses. There was fantastic back and forth action. If this was a night that a casual fan first saw a UFC pay-per-view, this was everything that the UFC could dream to have.
Absolutely, man. And speaking of which, we actually had a couple new people over here checking it out, and the first fight they saw was the Matt Brown fight, and I couldn't think of a better way to introduce someone to the UFC than Matt the Immortal Brown versus Tim Means.
The only way it could have been introduced better is if they let Matt the Immortal Brown come out to his stupid metal music intro, because that was just 2 guys who wing punches, and everyone kind of knew that was the tone that fight was going to take. There was going to be 0 wrestling. There was going to be 0 backing down, and it was great because we saw we saw Matt take some shots and be in real trouble. That was the best part of tonight. Was not that there was just exciting fights, but there was exciting back and forth action where the winners of tonight really took some damage and got put in a precarious spot.
Yeah, I mean, not only did Tim Means looked the best he's ever looked, and Matt Brown took his hardest shots, but then he showed exactly why they call him the Immortal. And not only that, Rory versus Robbie, is that the best welterweight title fight of all time?
It has to be up there, right? I was talking because I'm here in Westchester with a friend of mine watching the fights, and since GSP has vacated that belt, we've been treated to nothing but really fantastic fights. The worst fight maybe being Lawler Hendricks in the last welterweight title fight, and that's a fantastic fight. They've all been superb, and it's almost as if GSP has kind of like kept the excitement that is this level like tamed down by just being so dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. All props to GSP, one of the most technical fighters of all time. But when you talk about not only the casual fans, but the hardcore fans like myself, watching Robbie Lawler go in and do what he does is it's very exciting, and it's very fun to watch. I mean, he's so technical, but he can also knock you out, as you saw tonight. I mean, no one's ever put Rory on his ass like that, except the last time he fought Robbie. But this time was a whole nother level. He really pieced him up, man.
This was a deep ass whooping. There's very few fighters that I grow a personal attachment to. I just watched so many fights that it's kind of hard to have favorites after a while. You kind of all my favorites are long done or they're classic fighters. Rory MacDonald's always been a favorite of mine because he just looks like such an outsider and a weirdo. And today, it was the first time I ever actually felt sympathy for him. I've seen him lose before, and that Condit loss that kind of got me going. But it felt right, and maybe it's because I'm a Carlos Condit guy too. But today, I just felt like poor little Rory, like he got beat up and brutalized by a bully today. That's what it looked like at the end of this fight.
Yeah, man, it was definitely something to watch, and I mean, hopefully they get the fight of the night bonus, to make the loss not feel as bad. But
I heard that neither fighter is going to the press conference. Both went directly to the hospital, and that is probably the only smart decision that could be made after 2 men do that to each other. They should both stay in the hospital for at least 4 days, in fact.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How good does Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit sound?
Oh, that's a great fight. Can you sell Carlos Condit as the next contender? I think they'll probably move to that Hendricks fight, right? And I'm not too excited about it, but
here's the thing, man.
Condit.
They could, but what's the fight that the people want to see? I mean, yeah, okay, you can do the Hendricks fight. Yeah, I understand, but the fans want to see Carlos Condit versus Robbie Lawler. That's guaranteed violence.
I'm with you, man. Let's demand We start the petition now. I want to see Carlos again for the shot. He's the only person who kind of almost hurt GSP. Well, no, Hendricks did it too. But you know what I mean? There was that head kick moment. That was a great moment. It would be ultra violence, and that's what we've come to expect in these 170-pound title fights.
I'll tell you this: if I would have told you 2 or 3 years ago that Robbie Lawler would destroy GSP, you'd probably laugh in my face. Most people would, at least. If I say that today, I know the majority of people are going to agree with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. That could go a lot of ways. Robbie Lawler wins that fight, I think, actually, and wins it pretty well.
2015.
Yeah, in 2015, right? No one would believe it. Robbie Lawler's a special character, man. He's just, it's almost as if since the UFC happened, there's, I think I talked about this a while back. There was Strikeforce Robbie Lawler, and everyone kind of forgot about Strikeforce Robbie Lawler now because UFC Robbie Lawler's great and fantastic. Strikeforce Robbie Lawler sometimes showed up, and you're like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because one of my friends actually here, Sam, we always talk about the fact that back in the Strikeforce days when he was up at 185, there were these fights where he'd literally shadow box inside the octagon. So it's good to see that he's down at 170 pounds, taking it seriously, and he just defended his welterweight title.
He's the man right now. The rest of the pay-per-view, Thomas Almeida, a little bit of a rocky road in the first, and then maybe one of the highlight. That's a thing to go on a new UFC highlight reel.
I've gone on record many times saying that I think Thomas Almeida is a future champion, and one thing I want to look towards for a future champion is how they recover to adversity.
Yep.
Not only did he get dropped by Brad Pickett, who's called one punch, he gets back up. He lands a flying knee on Brad Pickett's chin and becomes the first man in UFC and WEC history to knock out Brad one-punch Pickett.
Now, did Thomas Almeida, yeah, I think Almeida landed the switch knee. I think he led with the right knee and lands the left flush. Really probably the more technical of the two gigantic knee knockouts of the night. Thomas Almeida, do I think he contends for a title? Yeah. Could he be great? It's so young. It's so hard to tell. 20-0 speaks good, and that was a big performance. Knowing the UFC, they'll probably fast track him, ruin him, and he'll get broken.
It's not just 20-0. It's 20-0 with 19 finishes.
Yeah, he is a bringer of violence, and a lot of times that first slot in the pay-per-view, the UFC's kind of been messing up, where they've been putting maybe not such an exciting fight, or stacking really that fight, the last fight on FS1 as opposed to the first pay-per-view fight. This one, it's a lighter weight fight, and they cashed in really hard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And my buddy Brad Taschuk is saying we're really drunk right now, saying that Robbie beats GSP. Get out of here, bro.
Bro, right now, I don't know. GSP's doing rings in a gym class right now. He's doing Pilates with 40-year-old chicks. What are you talking about? Robbie Lawler's out there at ATT fighting every day.
You're telling me a dude that is retired because he doesn't want to fight anymore can beat the current champ, man?
I don't believe that shit.
Either do I, but give me that plus money on Rory. No. Give me that plus money on Robbie Lawler against GSP at UFC 200.
Oh, the fantasy matchmaking for UFC 200 begins. How fantastic! I'm going to disavow, and I'm just going to not allow anyone to talk about UFC 200 on my show until the week before it. That's what I'm going to go ahead and say. The fact that they would hype a pay-per-view a year away without a card attached to it was nonsense today. I'm glad that they're going to do something big, but it's just so silly to me for a fight promoter, a company that its job is to promote the battle between two fighters, just promoted a number. They just promoted 3 letters in a number. What am I excited for? What if that's TJ Dillashaw against Henan Barao and the fight finally happens and that's the main event of UFC 200? How psyched are you for that?
Oh man, that's in 2 weeks, right? And also Paul Felder versus.
No, that's not happening in 2 weeks. That fight's never happening.
You saying he's gonna hit his head on the bathtub?
Or maybe like it's one of those glass doors in a hotel that like automatically open and it closes on his foot, and Henan Brow can't fight. Broken toe.
If they fight, who are you picking?
I'm gonna go with TJ. That was such a demolishment, and it came out of nowhere. Although I will say, and this is just patting myself on the back, so maybe Brad's right and I am drunk, that I did tell everyone on my first entry that I ever wrote on a UFC or an MMA blog to bet $20 that TJ Dillashaw will beat Henan Brow because it's what a good American should do. And you cleaned up a nice $100. The first thing I ever wrote in the MMA space was a $100 tip. Can you say that? Best fight picks?
Man, I can't top the Great Clown King. We all know.
Oh. All right, let's clean up the rest of the pay-per-view card and talk about Gunnar Nelson's quick submission. Or do you want to? Do you think that this was Thatch being a clown, or do you view this more as just Gunnar being really elite on the ground?
Look, I'll say this. The Brandon Thatch, you know the famous pirate Blackbeard?
Yeah, more.
His last name is Thatch, so we're talking about the descendant of a pirate.
Great-great-grandson of a murderous sailor.
And he's fighting against an Icelandic Viking warrior. So, I mean,
I like where you're going.
You couldn't put two, better characters in the octagon. And, everyone's saying Brandon Thatch has the striking advantage. And then Gunnar Nelson goes in there and drops him with that 3-2. And then you know what happens once Gunnar Nelson gets you on the ground, right? Yeah.
It was just like, I kind of thought that this was kind of, a very likely outcome. I discussed this on Twitter too. Benson Henderson essentially did the same thing. Popped him a couple times in the lip, and then worked the takedown, clinch game. Now, for Gunnar, it was more dropped him, and then it was kind of game over from there. But that just kind of, one of these overhyped guys. He might be the best, fighter in Denver, but apparently this crop of Denver fighters isn't all that good when you put them on the world stage. I really think that, Thatch's stock takes a huge dip here. These two losses, does he sniff out anything like a showcase fight like this, a big profile fight like this ever again? And if so, how many fights does he need to do it? 5 words for you. Yeah. Brandon Thatch versus Mike Swick. You want to see Mike Swick fight another fight? Hey, listen, everyone was saying Alex Garcia was going to go in there and knock him out in the first round. And, I mean, Mike Swick, look, yeah, he did lose 30-27, but he didn't look as terrible as everyone was expecting him to. He actually, he had a couple nice straight rights. And him versus Brandon Thatch, let's see where Brandon Thatch is really at, because in his last 2 high-profile fights, he's gotten blown out the water. So let's see. Okay, I hate you for saying this. Don't say that Mike Swick should ever fight again. The guy looked like hunched over. He looks like I feel right now. Like, I feel beaten and emotionally drained out from drinking and watching all these fights. He just looked like a man defeated with every step he took. He kind of had this, like, lurch in. He was so slow, and God. Let's be honest with you, or let's be honest in general, Alex Garcia sucked and did not look like a UFC caliber fighter, and just basically in neutral beat the shit out of Mike Swick. Yeah, I definitely expected a lot more from Alex Garcia than that. So Brandon Thatch would murder Mike Swick. It's a brutal, brutal murdering you're sending the man to. If he still wants to fight in the UFC, I mean, are they going to cherry pick his opponents? Nah, he's got to go to Bellator and face Josh Koscheck, baby. Former teammates battling it out. Oh, you wrote the storyline, didn't you? It's that easy. That's a good Raiders boost right there. Scott, get that money out there, Scotty. All right, let's talk. We talked a little bit about Jeremy Stephens, who on any other card has the KO of the night. Dude, that was insane. I mean, there were moments in that fight where I thought both guys were going to get knocked out, and Dennis Bermudez has that constant pressure, and he was actually mixing up his combos really, really nice. He's such a gamer, but eventually Jeremy Stephens landed that game-changing strike, which was a flying knee, a counter flying knee. That's something we don't see very often. It was beautifully placed. He, one of the announcers, and I doubt it was Goldie, so let's just say Rogan said that it was like a fadeaway knee. Or maybe that was a Goldie thing to say. And it kind of was that. It was like this perfectly slipped, like right inside of a distance where you don't normally see a knee thrown, and it was just brutal. You know, I was joking around with my buddy here that if Conor dropped Chad with the knee and finished it off there, this would have been one of those nights of lore, the night of knee KOs.
Wow, so I'm looking at the bonuses. Have you seen them yet?
No, I haven't seen them. What are they? Lay them down for us.
All right, so fight of the night, Robbie Lawler versus Rory MacDonald, and performance of the night, Gunnar Nelson and Tomas Almeida.
Huh. Okay. Hold on. What are those again? What was fight of the night?
Fight of the night was Rory versus Robbie, the greatest.
That makes the best fight that I've seen in months and months and months. Probably the fourth best fight I've ever seen. It has to be top 10. That makes sense. The KOs were Almeida and who?
It was Gunnar Nelson and Tomas Almeida.
Okay. Yeah. Those work. I really think that if everyone from the last 6 fights in the night don't get a hefty bonus paycheck, the UFC is not doing this right. This was such a win across the board for them that they really needed to, everyone needs a little bit of a pat on the back financially there.
The discretionary bonuses are going to be handed out for sure. All these fighters can expect a nice little envelope in their mailbox in the next 3 weeks. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I think estimates were Conor clears something like 4 or 3, which is a huge, as far as MMA goes, a huge payday. What do we think? Let's talk a little bit about the main event and finish on it because it's such a big deal for the history or for the future of MMA going forward. Where does this land us? Conor faces Aldo in months. Where does it happen? How much of the mainstream, interest that this fight kind of parlayed, generates, moves forward with the UFC?
Well, I mean, first of all, tonight felt like one of the biggest events in UFC history, and just in terms of production, I mean, they stepped up all the production. Face the Pain, that song.
Stop. They kept doing Face the Pain. Everyone knows I hate that song so much. It's the most embarrassing thing in the world to be a fan of this sport and then have Face the Pain come on. And it started, and there was no Face the Pain. And I loved it. For a second, I was like, yes, they finally listened. Everything makes sense in the world. And then remixed dubstep Face the Pain gets layered in there. And I could have died of shame. I'm embarrassed for the UFC at this point.
Yeah, look, it's better than the original version.
It's so much better. I love it so much more. I would download it if it was guaranteed that Face the Pain original's dead. I would download it on my phone and listen to it every morning.
Yeah, for sure, man. And then all the graphic design that they added to the show. I mean, their production team is working overtime right now. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, and then the walkouts, man. See, I thought that just Sinead O'Connor was going to walk out with Conor McGregor. And then
got the dude from Stain, baby.
The dude from Stain is walking out with Chad. So
Legendary move.
No one can say the UFC is disrespecting Chad anymore. He got his own personalized walkout too, man.
Here's my thing. Chad comes out. I might be wrong. He might be the country boy of him. But usually those, Team Alpha Male fighters come out to Red Hot Chili Pepper songs. And that would have been dope as shit.
Yeah,
the dude from Stain pulling the acoustic thing, and someone on Twitter gave him tons of props for playing a song while these dumbass drunk Irish people are singing "Ole Ole Ole" in the crowd, and I'll give him tons of props for that. That was a pretty gangster move. But I'm not giving him tons of props for the song. The song kind of sucked. I'm not down with that shit. I was really hoping for some Red Hot.
Well, I mean, it's not our fault. Chad Mendes has bad taste in music.
Or that's all the UFC could get. They were like, "You like that Stain song, don't you? You're that kind of guy, right? You like Stain?"
Yeah, he walks out to that shit every time, man.
Does he? Okay, good. Then that makes. I can't believe he was the honky tonk guy. So I guess it's Faber and Dillashaw that always are coming out to Red Hot. But you're right. The production value was huge and it was much appreciated. We've kind of been stuck in the same look for maybe a little bit too long. Let's talk about the shorts a little bit, I guess, because everyone wants to talk about the stupid trunks these fighters are wearing. Amazing shit's happening in the cage. We want to talk about what clothes are covering the fighters doing amazing things. I think that the Reebok deal made me realize how little I actually look at fighters' shorts and how much I give a shit.
Yeah, I'll say this. They can definitely make improvements, but certain things that I did like was the fact that they had their names on there instead of goddamn dynamic fastener. I like seeing those names on there, man. And
it makes fucking sense.
The jerseys are official looking. So, you know what? I think as they adjust it, as it evolves, it's going to be a really good thing for the sport.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just a little bit of a cleaner look, less of the, no one's playing around and goofing around with fucking banners and shit in the background. It's obnoxious that the fighters had to lose all this money, but, at least the one thing that the UFC did say, like, it was going to be visually better looking, they did deliver on that. It actually is a better look. What did you think about the kind of projection onto the cage? There was that moment, I think maybe in between the second and third fight, that they started projecting, like, Conor and Chad into the cage. Maybe it was just before the main event, actually.
They did it a couple of times, and it was absolutely incredible. I love all that shit.
You're so sold on it. I love that. You're like, it was absolutely incredible. I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. You're like, absolutely the greatest thing.
They're taking the sport to the next level, and, I mean, that just makes me so happy, man. And it was such a pleasure to watch. I had a bunch of people over. They all fucking loved it, so that's all. That is the one good thing about this whole thing. MMA and being a combat sports fan, especially an MMA fan, boxing is a little bit, you get a little bit more of a pass. It's kind of that dirty secret still. And that's that. To be a fan, you're kind of like, shamed to this weird nerdum life of like, oh, you like watching grown men fight each other? It's like, oh, yeah, kind of, I do. With this presentation, and, a couple more tweaks here and there, it's slowly becoming a thing that you can be like, no, this is actually cool, guys. Trust me. Like, people come, they watch, it's nice, it's professional. If we can remove maybe 45% more Dana White from the mix, then we'll be, at perfect presentation level for mainstream. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a home run tonight because, it's funny. Those times when you invite someone for their first ever
It's a nightmare. Always a nightmare.
And then, you got a bunch of clinching up against the fence, a bunch of, stalling on the ground, and they're like, this is the shit you watch?
Like, no, there's sometimes when it's actually fun, but it's usually on, like, Saturday afternoon, and it's happening in Sweden.
In front of 70,000 people in Gustafsson fighting Rumble Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, but tonight, super home run, the stars aligned. Who walks away from here a massive star besides, our Irish boy?
I mean, I definitely think Robbie Lawler, upped his stock. I mean, was Rory favored in this fight, but Robbie is the first man to defend the title since GSP. I mean, Johnny Hendricks didn't defend that title, so I'm pretty pumped to see Carlos Condit and Robbie Lawler.
I love your matchmaking enthusiasm, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that they're queuing up that Hendricks fight. They really are. I think that that's corny. I've recently just got a bad taste in my mouth for Johnny. I used to be a huge Johnny Hendricks supporter. Now I'm a Johnny Hendricks hater. So I'm going to hop on board. I'm going to hop on board with your prediction. Let's pump and push, Carlos Condit. Get in there. You look good. You look like you came back from that surgery nice.
Let Johnny Hendricks and Tyron Woodley, battle it out. I mean, did you see the picture of Johnny Hendricks lately? It looks like he's been eating again, to say the least. He's been eating at his 2-star steakhouse. Oh,
it is wonderful steakhouse. That's probably the funniest thing that's come out of Twitter in the last little bit has been that Johnny Hendricks operates a completely subpar steakhouse. Even during the embedded footage, it looked like a horseshit place to eat.
Yeah, man. Did you read some of those Yelp reviews?
I read some of the Yelp reviews. How terrible. What I like about Johnny Hendricks is that when he packs on the weight, he gets like this chubby face, and he almost looks childlike. And you're like, there's no way that person could be fighting for the world, for the UFC World Championship.
So I gotta say something totally off topic. But
go for it.
Not quite off topic. So how about Conor McGregor?
How about that guy? That Conor McGregor solidified, all the hype about himself, completely went out there and showed where he was vulnerable, but somehow his power just, overpowers his weakness. There's been no secret, really, behind what Conor McGregor's actual success in the octagon's about. It's his straight punches. He throws vicious, powerful, straight punches. Now, he, hides them behind all this kicking and a lot of elusive maneuvering and talking shit in the cage. But those power shots, when they land, really land big, and Chad Mendes couldn't take it after a while.
here's the thing that impressed me the most. So Chad Mendes landed his overhand right. He landed his uppercut. He landed his left hook, all on the chin of Conor McGregor. And not only did Conor McGregor not get knocked out like all those other guys, he got taken down by Chad Mendes. And Chad Mendes, he didn't pass guard. I mean, yeah, he landed a couple elbows, no big deal. This is a fight. This isn't just about stalling it out. And when he tried to transition to get that mounted guillotine that Team Alpha Male is so well known for, Conor escaped that shit. So, I mean, what's up? I think the wrestler question's been answered. Put Frankie Edgar in there. Let's see what happens.
You could say that him going for that guillotine was his fatal mistake. He had the second round wrapped up, and he's probably cruising, moving into the third round, 2 rounds up. All he's got to do is take one more and then survive the rest of the rounds. Maybe there's some talk about the first round, but I really scored both for Chad until he kind of closed it, until Conor closed it. So. Where you respect that he was going for it, and it looked like a dangerous position, Conor's just willpower to kind of flip out of it and get back to the feet. They only had like 30 seconds left, and he stopped him with maybe like 10 seconds left. It was really kind of an incredible turn of pace. I think what helped set it up a lot was the body shots, particularly the kicks to the body, really slowed Chad Mendes down. What I wanted to ask you is, how much do you think Chad was affected by not having a full count?
You never know, but here's what I think. I think the Team Alpha Male guys stay in shape year-round, and they're always in excellent shape. But when you talk about just being in regular shape or being in fight shape, those are two completely different things. And, yeah, he probably would have beat most guys tonight, but when you're fighting Conor McGregor, it's a whole nother ballgame, as he likes to say. And, listen, like you said, those teep kicks to the body, that was slowing him down, bit by bit. So once you start, hitting those body shots, the guys start they lose all their endurance. And you saw Chad Mendes was backing up against the fence. And it's funny, the combination that Conor dropped Chad Mendes with was the exact combo that Jose Aldo dropped him with at the end of the first round. The only difference is that Conor McGregor knocked him out.
I totally did. As soon as you said it, I recognized that, and I didn't see that during the fight. That's kind of amazing, and one of those funny, weird coincidences of fighting. I think, though, that the body kicks were a deliberate thing, because when you have that camp, really what you're doing is making yourself into a cardio machine. There's the being in fight shape, and being in fight shape being that, Mendes was in great shape to have full power on his punches. He was there and could land clean shots. But what he didn't have time to really do is get that cardio up to that peak level. And once he took some of those big kicks to the body, it just slowed him down. And without that second wind, and Conor got caught a couple times with some big punches, and he ate them nicely and found his second wind. And Chad just really, really couldn't. It was such a bizarre ending almost to the fight, because it just, out of nowhere, you had a Chad Mendes round that you could have almost been penciling in your 10-9, and then with 15, 20 seconds left, all of a sudden it gets a little bit bad for Chad, and then snowballs very, very quickly. All of a sudden he was kind of dropped and out.
Dude, it was insane. And let me just ask you this.
Yeah.
How pumped are you for Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor?
I'm pretty pumped for it. I think, there's not much lost off that fight. Despite this, injury thing, we might see the UFC hype it up just as much. We might see it in Vegas again. We might see it actually in Rio. This could be a massive, massive fight and do bigger numbers than this fight did. And I don't think that this fight was hurt by the Jose Aldo injury. The bottom line is that Conor McGregor, legit star. I'll be very curious to see what the buy rates were, but I can't imagine that they weren't through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, just the magnitude of this event, you could really feel it. It had that big fight feel. Not only that, not only was it the biggest gate in UFC USA history, but the weigh-ins were more well attended than Mayweather versus Pacquiao. So, I mean, that was the first time they ever opened the entire arena for the weigh-in. So, I mean, this felt like the biggest event to me. It was just...
They charged for the Mayweather-Pacquiao weigh-ins. Don't forget that part. You get some drunk people a place to stand for free. They'll show up for sure.
Yeah.
I heard crazy stories from people in Vegas during the fight week, and particularly during the weigh-ins. Drunk Irish people jumping into the pools with their clothes on. They stopped floor traffic in the Mandalay Bay, chanting and singing some song. Just insanity. Which, Vegas can, if there's a town able to handle some insanity, it's Vegas. I just can't believe how lucky the UFC, Vegas, Conor McGregor, everyone's involved in this. Everyone's stock just went through the roof because of this win, and it looked like it was all going to go very bad at the end there. So hats off to the UFC and hats off to Conor. He just made himself, his next payday very, very secure. What I did want to mention real quick was a person who didn't fight this week, but a person who was maybe the most crafty businessman out of any UFC fighter, and that's Uriah Faber. With a small little confrontation, he set himself up with a very good potential to make himself a quick $3 million payday maybe. If Chad Mendes wins this fight, and there was a very distinct possibility that he could keep on that grind and win this fight, there was no question that they would set up, Conor McGregor in Ireland against Uriah Faber.
Yeah, if he would have lost this fight, I guess you could do that. I mean, for sure. But
it was the best marketing move, and at a weekend that's so well covered by the media as this one, how are you going to not be in a fight and steal the media attention? See, this is the tip of the cap in a smart marketing move that any other UFC fighter's got to think. Like, how do you get your name into these big-name fights when they're happening in your division? Another person who was very smart this weekend, Ben Rothwell. He's out there talking complete nonsense and being a crazy person, but that's fantastic. It's the weekend to be crazy, man.
Yeah, he's making his new persona, Darth Vader, Big Ben Rothwell. What's his persona exactly?
There is a bit of Darth Vader involved in there. It's just like overall creepy, man. I think Ben Rothwell is like, the boogeyman for every kid who ever grew up in Maine.
Who do you think he's going to fight next?
Who knows and who really cares, but let's be honest. But but I can appreciate the effort of the hustle is the whole point in this thing. Everyone's kind of feeding off the Conor vibe. Get in there, make your fights happen, get on this, get your face in front of people, start some controversy. It's good for everything. And I preached this last week on the show, and I'm always going to preach it. We need these dumb wrestling fans to make this sport big, to bring in tons of money so that we can have fighters who'd have full-time camps and fighters who can have specialized camp go to them so we can see amazing fights. These were amazing fights, top to bottom. We need the money in MMA to keep this shit alive.
And nights like tonight are only going to help that happen. I mean, this was a home run in every sense of the word.
Yeah, home run in every sense of the word. One misstep, and there were some early missteps, was by a guy I have to mention. His fight was so awful, but I have to mention it. Cathal Pendred, disrespecting the nation of Ireland, disrespecting every single viewer and fan of MMA by putting on one of the worst performances. And after a series of bad performances, this one was the creme de la creme.
I mean, you know what's the funniest part about it?
What?
He was one judge's scorecard away.
How crazy is this fucking sport, man? That was a John Howard 30-27, and homeboy was a round away from stealing it.
Dude, John Howard, Cathal Pendred just makes guys fight awkwardly, and I don't know what kind of effect he has on the judges that. Tonight he didn't get his infamous 30-27, but one judge scored at 29-28, Pendred.
Everyone, I don't know. He's like he's one of those hypnotic snakes. He just has has an interesting frequency of movement that just makes people stare at him. Then you're like, he's not losing that bad, so yeah, why not? Give him the score. It's an amazing talent. It'll probably keep him alive in the UFC for a while. We were joking around here that both Cathal Pendred and John Howard should both get cut from the UFC after that fight. Oh, just a goddamn nightmare. And while we're at it, get Alex Garcia and Mike Swick. Cut them too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Alex Garcia, I can't stop saying it enough. Was that – oh, no, hold up. What about Cody Garbrandt? Was that kind of underwhelming or what?
Yeah, he was as high as he got steamed. I think he was steamed into like the 9s. No, I think that was actually Almeida, but he was steamed into the 6s. I think a minus 600 favorite. But what a joke, kind of. His problem, and it's a problem, for anyone who wants to engage in professional combat sports, is that he sticks his fucking chin out in the air, and it gets clobbered by dudes.
Once he fights a guy that's as fast as him or faster than him, or maybe even a guy that's a little slower but has great timing, he's going to get laid out. I'm just saying it right now. Like, for example, if they put him in there with Tomas Almeida, you better...
Almeida lights him up so bad.
You better go to that ticket window real fucking quick on Tomasino Almeida, because he's going to destroy Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, lay down that early money on 5 dimes. Get those early odds.
Yeah, get that 50 cents limit.
Alex Garcia super fade going forward. John Howard, another super fade going forward. John Howard saved his career a little bit. Give him a little props.
Yeah, they should make John Howard fight Alex Garcia and then just cut them both after the fight.
They should just kill them both at the end of the fight. Just be done with them.
Put them on a deserted island with sharks.
Just leave them to their own devices. They all get to pick one item, and then they just get left. You can make it like an embedded episode. It would be a quick vlog. Yeah. We had some Fight Pass fights you want to talk about. Neil Seery kind of getting a little bit smoked by Louis Smolka.
We actually went to the liquor store during that fight.
Oh, I'll give you the quick brushstrokes here. Neil Seery is really old, and it turns out when a young, versatile fighter fights him, he can just grapple the shit out of him. Neil Seery can win like little stand-up exchanges, but he'll always get clipped with a big shot that stuns him a little bit too much and leads to some clinch work and some takedown. Poor Neil Seery. I know that people in Ireland like him, but there's a reason he has like a 20-10 record. He's just like not gonna be an elite fighter and probably shouldn't really be a UFC fighter. But it's in a small division, so we'll he can stick around because he's popular. We don't want to give him to Bellator. That's the long and the short of Neil Seery against Smoka. So I take it you missed Cody Pfister, get his upset victory.
I saw the Fist get it done, man. I picked Cody Pfister on Top Master too, man. I was like saying, see, I couldn't bet on a guy like Cody Pfister. You don't just go to the ticket window and fucking put your money on Cody Pfister. But I did say that his pressure style could trouble Cedeno, and I mean that's what happened because Cedeno, he does have nice strikes, but if you put pressure on him, he doesn't really truly want to fight. He just wants to hit pads. So that's what happened, man.
I'm totally with you. I thought also that Cedeno might kind of gas out and tire out once he got into a little bit of a brawl. The kid Pfister brought it in a nice thing. He will, never fight for anything big, but it's good for him to cash some early bets for me and bring me into the positive early. How'd you do money-wise anyway? I broke nearly dead even. I won half a unit tonight.
Did great, man. I mean, so let's see. We had a 4.5 unit play on Conor McGregor.
Ooh.
Then we had a 2-unit play on Conor McGregor inside the distance. And we had a 2-unit play on Matt Brown. And then a 2-unit play on Cody inside the distance. So all in all, we finished plus 3.15 units, I think.
Nicely done. That's a solid night, man. I went with the risky strategy of just betting underdogs. I was looking at this card and I realized I was watching it with some buddies and I wanted to just fan them out. But the addict in me wouldn't allow me to not bet it at all, so I went with the complete opposite direction, just bet everything across the board. And I figured something like this would happen. Some dogs would win and I'd lose in a bunch of spots. And I broke about even. I had some shots for some good money, but overall, you break even on a night, had a good time, and an amazing night of fights. Good time.
Hell yeah, man, for sure. I messed up. It was 4.15 units, but dude,
that's a much better night.
But I messed up. I wanted to bet Gunnar Nelson and Jeremy Stevens. The reason I passed was Jeremy Stevens missed weight. He came in at 149, and then the weigh in between Thatch and Nelson, I knew the size difference was going to be apparent, but something about that made me pass, and now I'm very much regretting it. But
You know what the man MMA odds would say. You know what Joey Adesi would say. You know, no rearview mirrors. We're looking forward. Next.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you know, yeah, you've been putting some money away in your pocket recently. So so I'm not gonna cry any tears for you. Jeremy Stephens missing weight though. That was interesting. I give, you know, most times when a fighter misses weight, I'm ready to discard him, or I want to avoid betting him, or you know, I want to look at that as a big weakness. A dude like Jeremy Stephens, I feel like is just powered on, you know, being mean and probably hard liquor. So if he misses, you know, some fights, I'm like, good. He's probably disgruntled. He's been fighting with his wife. He's been drinking late at night. You know, these are all positive attributes that'll probably lead to him winning. Oh, good. I give you the lead-in and you just stepped away. Yeah, no, but I'm not worried, basically, when a guy like Jeremy Stephens misses weight. I think, you know, his overall lifestyle, you know, sometimes shit like that's going to happen. What do you miss, 3.5 pounds?
Yeah, he came in at 149, and it's funny, he
Close enough. Close enough. Come on, guys. What are we talking about here?
He pulled a John Lineker where he comes in and misses weight by a mile, and then he doesn't go and, you know, cut more weight. He just
That's the smartest move ever. I never understood that. If you're going to miss it by a wide margin, definitely don't go for the second win. You ain't dropping 3 pounds in an hour. Come on, guys. Let's be real. Head right to the food court, you know, get grubbing. Just pay that money. You lost. Take that fine. I think it's 20% of your purse. You get paid more money in discretionary bonuses probably if you're Jeremy Stephens. It's all good.
Yeah, man, for sure. And you know what? The thing that sucks most for him, I mean, not only were all the fights so exciting that he couldn't get a bonus, but I think the missing weight, that kind of took him out of the picture for the bonuses.
And that's a very good point. And that's probably why he didn't get any consideration at all, because he probably would have stole that bonus from Gunnar Nelson.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, we've covered a lot of stuff here. Let's grade it. The whole card, up to down. Remember, at the beginning of this card was a lot of dog shit. What is your grade A to F on the whole thing?
A+.
A+.
Only because when I show someone this card, I start immediately at the Matt Brown fight, and then Tomas Almeida, and then Gunnar Nelson, then Jeremy Stephens, then Robbie Lawler, then Conor McGregor. I mean, the card was just incredible. So if you want to show someone who's never seen the UFC what the UFC is all about, you show them this card starting from the Matt Brown fight. That's it.
Daniel, I couldn't agree more. It's like everything that we loved about this sport in those 6 fights and back-to-back with really no lulls in between it was just really special. We just don't get that very often right now, especially in the climate that we're in with MMA and as many shows as the UFC is putting on. We've really had one of these rare moments where not only was there 6 fantastic fights that kind of all meant something, a couple fights that really don't mean anything, but enough that they're names, enough that it worked, especially with the results we got. 6 fights where there was storylines, so there's characters, and 6 fantastic, you know, results, and most of them, you know, highlight career-defining, you know, finishes. A fantastic night for the UFC. We come back tomorrow night with the Tough 21 finale, probably the cherry on top of this great Sunday. Maybe the highlight of the whole weekend probably tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Wonder Boy's about to lay out yes, Jake Ellenberger.
You really think so? I see that playing out differently, but I also see that as kind of like a whatever at this point. What do you think about the Sunday card after the Saturday big main event?
Well, I mean, obviously on paper it doesn't compare, but I'm still going to tune in, and I'm expecting to see some finishes, man. You know, Russell Doan's on the card. Obviously, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's on the card. George Masvidal versus Cesar Mutanchi's on the card.
Which is just a weird, fun fight. Why not?
Yeah. And
I like it. I think that there's good to have, like, a legit system of tiering going on in the UFC. Like a tiered product. That this is clearly the you know, less great version of the UFC that also happens to exist. And in no way, and nowhere else in the UFC is it kind of like absolutely spelled out for you like it is this. It's like, this is the Saturday product. It is extremely good. This is the Sunday product. That might be fun.
Yeah, and I mean, just to get a card like we got tonight, and then tomorrow when we're chilling on a Sunday night, You just get to watch some more UFC. Then Wednesday, there's even more. And then this next Saturday, there's even more. So, I mean...
Yeah, Wednesday we could watch Todd Duffy knock Frank Mir the hell out.
We'll see about that, man. Frank Mir looked great.
No, he didn't. Don't say Frank Mir looked great. Those words don't go together.
Hey, we'll see what's up, man, because the only time Todd Duffy's ever fought a real fighter, he's gotten brutally knocked out. So,
okay, well, we have so much more to look forward to in the great world of MMA. We graded the card. You gave it an A+. I'm giving it an A+. It's a completely unstoppable night for the UFC. Great night to be a fan. Great night to be a bettor. Great night overall. Anything else you wanted to cover? Anything that we missed along the way?
I got the MMA Genius here.
You got the MMA Genius there. Is he covered in shadows? Can we actually see the MMA Genius?
He can only make a brief appearance because he is the MMA Genius, and we have to,
MMA Genius, are you willing to show your face on camera?
So we have to keep him hidden.
Oh, the MMA Genius is in the house. What's happening, man?
How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Good, man. How was that card, dude?
Oh, pretty dull, could have gone better.
We also got the only other member of Best Fight Picks. And this is going to be his only ever appearance on camera because we have to keep him,
These are the special hidden secret moments you get on Before the Baldman Speaks.
This guy handles the website, the mailing list, and lets me be an asshole and put 6.5 units on Conor McGregor, and is still my friend after I say something ridiculous like that. So I'm going to introduce you to Sam Reeves right now. This is Best Fight Picks with me.
Hello, how you doing?
Sam Reeves, what's happening, man? The brains behind the operation, clearly.
Hey, man, this is the brains right here.
No, you need the technical support. He's just like the voice piece. Sometimes he's like like Moses in the desert. He had to preach, but he needed the brother to bring it to the people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Listen, man, this all started when I noticed his genius. So this is the guy who makes it happen, and it's my job to amplify it to the world.
Sam, watch who you're calling genius in the presence of the MMA.
The MMA Genius is right.
The MMA Genius is in the house. He may hurt you.
I'm gonna be stricken by those words, man. I mean, shit. I'm gonna wake up with a lightsaber next to my bed. I don't really know, man. So.
The Genius has mafia connections. That's why we must keep his face off this. I'll edit the video, Genius. No, don't worry. Your face will never be on camera again.
Wait, hold up. Is this the MMA Genius coming back?
Good, yeah. Genius, how did we do on the night? How was your picks in bets?
We lost on means.
He didn't tail Best Fight Picks. That's what happened.
The biggest mistake in MMA betting right there.
You get McGregor in the distance, bro.
There you go.
That's smart. That was a brave bet and ended up working out for everyone. And God, how that fight just kind of turned. When I went to start the show, I needed to take a few minutes just because there was such kind of a roller coaster night of every fight, ending after people catching so much adversity. So dangerous night for bettors. Best Fight Picks got you through, but I bet some other people it wasn't so pretty.
Hey, but those other people, if you're listening right now, go to bestfightpicks.com, type your email in the top right corner, and you'll get the best fight picks every single fight week. So, I mean, there's nothing else to say. Just do it.
There it is. And, the best part about this is, get them while it's free because pretty soon.
You never know. You never know. I mean, I'm really enjoying sharing the wealth of that.
when you're making the money, it's easy to give it out, isn't it, man?
Hey, we wouldn't give out losing picks. If we lost, we'd give you back your money. We don't come here to fucking make people poor. So you better do that right now.
I love it. I love it. All right, man. I'd say plug something, but it seems like you had that covered, Daniel.
The thing I got to plug is every single Wednesday or Thursday, depending where you are on the globe, myself and Flying Brian, we do the Flying with Best Fight Picks podcast, and we cover the entire card start to finish, let you know which place to place, your counter move teams, your UFC pick'em, the entire ordeal. So,
yeah, shout out to Brian, big supporter of my show, and a funny dude all around.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right, brother. Thanks for coming on as always. Thanks for kind of rounding up the crew as well. Fantastic night of fights, and it was always great having you on, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on, as always. And I actually started a new pre-fight roundtable every Friday called Half the Battle, and you should definitely be a guest on it sometime.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to, man, and appreciate the offer. And people out there listening, look forward to that. I'll definitely do it.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks again, man.
All right, take it easy, man. At Best Fight Picks on Twitter. Daniel Levi, my man. Definitely glad I got him on the show. He's always such a good time, and I figured on such a big card, it'd be nice to have someone to goof around with about the fights. Overall, final thoughts on the fight. I think we covered everything. It was a great card. It was an amazing night. I broke around even on my betting, so no complaints there. I hope all of you made a lot more money than I did. I will have a show tomorrow after the tough finale, so you can look forward to having maybe 2 of you watch that. And really great, and for everyone who viewed and tuned in. If you ask questions and we didn't get to them, I'm sorry, but that's how it rolls sometimes. And thank you very much for watching. This is Before the Bald Man Speaks, episode 5. Thanks for tuning in. Take it easy.